people, cloud is a myth. A lot of people don't understand what the cloud is. Some people are already in cloud or using cloud and they're not aware. So my goal today is to try to the best of my ability, simplify what cloud is all about. So without further ado, let me jump right in. So spend 1 second. Right. So briefly, why cloud? Well, for one, I'm coming from a background of network engineering and, having computer networking technology, undergraduate and master's in business information systems management. I worked a little bit in the telecommunication industry in the UK, and then telecoms in Nigeria, telecoms here in Canada, and then I've swiftly moved on to the banking industry. And one thing that I found as a common denominator is that, well, as compared to our local context in Nigeria, the agility with which and the need for speed to get products out there in the markets is very prevalent here. And with that, you need better methods, to be able to do things sustainably, scalably, and also to be able to do it in a repeatable manner. And so early in the 2000s, with the death of the dot-com bubble, and one can argue that, cloud has actually even been here, since the 60s, at least the idea of it, but was conceptualized, in the new millennium. And so fast forward into 2002, 3, Amazon, they're always, jumping right in front of a moving train, to try to see how they can do things differently and do it en masse in such a way that, they'll be able to make profit from a very small margin. So they already had the head start. And so they relaunched in 2006. And at this point, they launched their legacy services, the EC2, the simple storage service, the load balancer, just tiny little services on the cloud. But before I get too far and ahead of myself, what is cloud? Well, just like your iCloud, you have some data on your phone, and essentially you have some application on your phone, and you can sync it to an account online. Your Dropbox is a cloud service. It's just storage and space. You no longer have brick and mortar server rooms. Why? Because you're trying to keep the cost low. You're trying to, you want to be able to switch off the light whenever you want without disrupting the business. So you're outsourcing all that infrastructure to a server room somewhere. We don't know where it is. It's somewhere, but it's global. And because it's global, it's able to reach every corner of the world. They just give you a connection string and you connect and you do everything that you want to. So you have your data, your application living in the cloud. But the two aspects that I must emphasize on, that is the front end and the back end. So people are full stack developers. So those three aspects are areas with which, the niches that you can specialize in. I'm an infrastructure developer. And so I'm more of the back end. I don't do application development. I think that would be Najee, and he's going to talk to you about that. But where do you draw the line between an infrastructure architect and an application architect? It's a philosophical question, because you have to know a bit of both. The application is going to consume the infrastructure. The infrastructure supports the application. And if those two don't talk together, then you have a problem. So I struggled when I came to Canada, just like a whole lot of us, new immigrants. And I really want to personalize this presentation. Those on this call that know me personally, they know my story. I worked in the call center picking up calls and, just trying to understand exactly how I can solve another man's problem. I was frustrated myself, trust me. I'm coming from a country where there's a lot of frustration. and people will call you for, but let me get into that. So, and I had seen the trend from UK to Nigeria, and I've seen the gaps and the infrastructural deficiencies back home. And I saw how things are being done here, just like many of us as well, in different professions. And, you think, wow, so back home, I'm doing 7 people's work and I'm getting half a person's pay, right? But when you really look at it, right, understanding the value chain, right, you can hire a better personnel than a Nigerian, someone coming from that side of the world. So I trained myself to be ITIL certified, CISA, CISM, project manager, I'm a Scrum Master, quality assurance professional, so many things, I'm CCNA certified. And this year alone, I got 4 AWS certification, cloud practitioner, solutions architecture, associate, security specialties, developer associate, and maybe about a few more that I can't remember right now. And also, I'm looking at least about 4 or 5 of them. But when it comes to cloud, none of that matters, right? Because it is something that is just coming of age. People are just starting to understand this. So do not fear when you see 10 years of experience. Where are you going to find that? They are trying to understand it themselves, right? If there were people like that, right, then you wouldn't see so many, cloud engineering, solutions architect jobs out there. And so they're really trying to catch up. And so back to my presentation. I'm just going to skip ahead and move on to the next slide. So that's my story in a nutshell. And so where are we? So AWS got it right. They got it right with those legacy services. And everyone else that came along by 2010, AWS was already ahead. AWS has over 35% of the market, and then, Microsoft, Azure, Google, and IBM combine at 30, and then you have the rest. Point being, when you take a look at the market lead and their success story, being part of the Obama campaign and also Netflix and NASA, those were the things that really put cloud services out there, because the biggest thing for everyone is security. And so, oh yes, and as a security professional, I am also, keeping a keen eye on some of these things. There are many ways in which you can slice and dice cloud. And honestly, it is very rewarding learning all the tools. The first thing you need to do is know the technology. Pick one. I picked AWS. Naja would disagree with me because, he's a specialist in AWS, Azure, Google is a full stack application, front and back end. And I'll be very honest, this guy is one of the people that really encouraged me to carry on with this journey. And I have to say, it's been very rewarding. Today, Naja looks at me and thinks he has created a monster. But I'd have to say as well, you really need to put the work in. And so now you know the technology, but that doesn't really matter. You know the concepts. But then the way cloud is done in an enterprise, that sort of environment is using tools, infrastructure, architecture, orchestration, automation. You really have to understand these tools, how they talk. Different layers, depending on the maturity of the organization as well. There's a tool for different organization. And the way I do cloud in my organization will be different from yours, be different from another person's. What I call cloud might be nonsense to another person. It all depends on the context. So just a list of tools that, I've become quite familiar with. Not all of them. And to be very honest, nobody knows it all. Nobody. If you meet a cloud engineer or architect that says that they know it all, right? They are lying. Even if they work in AWS, it is a lie. You cannot know it all. Pick your niche. If you want to focus on the network or infrastructure aspect, do that. If you want to be a Jenkins professional, specialist, do that. But I kind of know quite a lot of them, so I don't really know if I'm the right person to be telling you people that. But definitely that is a better strategy. So it's all in the tooling. Most people are public cloud, which is AWS, Azure, as you have it. Private cloud, which is you have your data center and hybrid in between. So I'm not going to talk about most of what you can already even find online. But again, once you get in and you start your cloud journey, be patient with yourself, learn different things every day. And by all means, I'm very sure, especially people of color, especially women in IT, people that are really just out there to really put the work in and show that it can be done by anybody. It doesn't have to be someone with an IT background. There are different angles to this, whether you want to attack it from the law or the technical aspects. There is something in cloud for everyone, whether you want to be a Scrum Master and specialize in a particular cloud technology. There is also room for that. So if you just bear me one moment, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and I'm just going to show you a little bit of demonstration so we can have a better appreciation of exactly what the cloud is. One moment, please. Okay, so for some reason my screen has frozen. Can I see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right, great. So, as I said, you want to do things in a repeatable fashion. You want to do things in a scalable fashion. I can decide to spin up an EC2 instance, which is just a server, and configure it, by logging into the management console. That takes about 5 minutes. But what do you do when you've got like 100 servers that you need to configure? You need to create a manifest. And one of the tools that we use is Terraform. Terraform is not a cloud specific or vendor specific tool. You can use it with multiple providers, multiple vendors, and that is the cool thing. Same as Kubernetes, another tool. And Kubernetes is another tool that basically makes infrastructure coding so sweet. You have a single source of truth. Neji is looking at me and smiling right now because about a year ago I was asking him, what is Kubernetes? What is Terraform? And the truth of the matter is, I might not tell you all the answers, but in your search to try to find the answers, that's how you learn. So if I were to put this all together and try to run it, this is the amount of code that I need to put together for Terraform. Well, at this point, we just decided, what, we are tired and bored of just writing all this code. It's a lot of code. Even as this is easy, there's another tool. It's called Aws Cdk. And Aws Cdk is a code to basically go and code your code for you. And then you can deploy your infrastructure and you can sleep and you can just rest. So I'm just going to demonstrate something real quick and hopefully this should work. If not, we'll all have a good laugh. One moment, please. So I've already tested this, but essentially what I want to do is I just want to deploy a simple infrastructure, and I also want to do it in a fashion that basically uses function as code. So those functions are going to be deployed using Lambda. AWS Lambda is a function as code service, and that essentially just does everything in the backend for me. It runs for 15 minutes, so it scores timeout period. And just one of those tools. So if I just go ahead and synthesize what I'm about to deploy right now, just 3 services, right? This is the amount of code I would have had to write. Let me increase this here so you can see it better. This is the amount of code I would have had to write just to say hello world. That's a lot. There are a lot of modules that have been developed for this. So you got your API gateway, you got your Lambda function, you've got some streaming services running there, some IAM, identity and access management services. So security is taken care of and whatnot. So, all you just got to do really, once you bootstrap your code, right, you go ahead and you deploy your infrastructure. 2 lines of code. I'm not going into the nitty-gritty of the little work that you might have to do, but in just a short demonstration, this is all the permissions that I need to set. These are all the permissions that I need to set. These are the things that I need to make sure are right and meets my organization security standards and best practices. And I've got sign up. And that's another thing. This is infrastructure as code. When you build a pipeline, it basically more or less puts a lot of people out of work. That's another reason to go into cloud. So I've just skipped past a whole lot of permissioning and I'm happy with this deployment. I'm gonna go ahead and say yes. So this is probably gonna take about 5 minutes to deploy. And whilst this is baking in the oven, I'm just going to switch back to my presentation deck and we can quickly round up. I'll come back to this when it's done, but I'll just go over my last bit of presentation. One moment, please. Here we are. We spoke about the tooling and so on. But one part that I'm also very passionate about, which is going to set up Naja's presentation, is security of the cloud. There's a security in the cloud and the security of the cloud, and the responsibilities are split between the company and also the vendor. You may share this responsibility, but ultimately you need to take account of all the services you're using. This looks like jargon. No one puts a diagram together like this. But when I was interviewing, I had to show, a very good level of knowledge and understanding of how all these things communicate. And it's pretty simple. You want encryption end-to-end, at rest and in transit. You want to have a good identity and access management, and you want to tick all the necessary boxes. So that is a summary of this. So this is what, you'll have to take a look at, more or less on a daily basis. So just to round up and not to take too much of your time, I promised my presentation was going to be short and sweet. And if you were to ask me, where do you start? There's a whole lot of resources online. Personally, Linux Academy is good. A Cloud Guru, if you've heard of it. Medium, Udemy, Coursera, you know these things already. There's nothing new that I'm actually providing here. But what really works is the amount of time that you spend on it. I decide I want to spend 3 hours in the weekend, and Neji is looking at me again and smiling because he knows I'm going to spend 9 hours, and I don't feel it. I just carry on. And so I guess before isolation and this COVID, I've had this thing where I've been self-isolating and going through my own process. So this doesn't come to me as a big deal because I enjoy it. Necessary skills for you to have. Learn a platform, learn infrastructure as code, some programming language, and understand the tooling. Nobody knows it all. And essentially, wherever you start is a good starting point. People will ask you many different questions that you probably don't know the answers to. But really, my whole thing is to really put our names out there to let them know we're of good pedigree, and let them understand that we're not asking for a seat on the table. I bring the whole goddamn table. Let them know, and that's why I just keep going. AJ is smiling at me again, knowing that he created a monster. But quite humbly, I'm very grateful for the opportunity. To also speak to people here, and I hope I've inspired something in someone to try to take a look at cloud as a viable profession to delve into and to enjoy. Thank you very much. So let's just look at what we're baking in the oven and see whether it's done. I'm just going to stop this presentation slide here. Go back to it. Yes, it's done. And so these are the outputs. And if I were to just go ahead and click on one of these endpoints, I can, one moment, I can see the result that it's gonna yield. It's just a simple hello world. And I'll share my screen. You might not be able to see this. It says, hello, Nigerian IT professionals, NIPCA. You're welcome to the Visa Club Cloud AI and ML presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bello. Thank you for that wonderful session. Now we'll move on to Neji. Neji, please go ahead.
Okay, Bello, you're amazing, man. You've done absolutely amazing. In fact, before I jump into my own, I would like to say if there was a way to give a standing ovation, I would have stood up here, but we have to be time and all that. But sincerely, what you guys just saw is that is world-class cloud engineering, and that is like what we call infrastructure as code. A little bit about my background. I like to think of myself as a solutionist. I don't say I'm a software developer. I don't say I'm a cloud engineer. I don't say I'm a DevOps. DevOps architect. I played all those roles. But I tell people I'm a solutionist. And my background is typically in software development. I started building applications in 2002. First of all, my name is Neji Tao. I am a Nigerian from Cross River State. I came to Canada in 2018. And I've worked with some of the biggest names in the industry here. I've worked with RBC as a senior cloud architect. I've worked at Deloitte as a senior consultant. I worked at a bunch of banks and telecom networks. But right now I run my own thing, software company called Visa Club Software, where we are using these technologies in cloud, AI, and machine learning to try and keep people's identities secure. So how did I get into cloud? I'll start with a small story. In 2017, I managed to get an online job with a Canadian company. Back then, I was a Nigeria forming local champion. You know this, you know that, and in Nigeria now, once you have CCNA, CCNP, you start carrying yourself like you are the whole world. And yeah. So the 2 months into my job, I got this job online. 2 months into my job, they fired me. The guy was like, you don't know enough. And I said, why? How come? I have the experience. I have this, I have blah, blah, blah. And I, rather than going home to go and cry in my bed or going to drink myself to stupor, with a quick of star, I just said, let me figure out, why did these guys fire me? Why did I lose my job? And I found out that truly I didn't know anything about the emerging technologies, and the emerging technologies and the emerging world sits on cloud, DevOps, and all the buzzwords that you're hearing today. Back in Nigeria, all we're doing is PHP, .NET, small HTML and CSS. You start feeling like a don and all that stuff. But the real thing, like where the real experts were, I had to sit down, burn hours and hours, like take time and learn everything from scratch. So I got into AWS, I got into Azure, I got into Google Cloud, I got into Kubernetes, I got into Docker, so all the technologies. And somehow along the way, Bello and I met in Toronto, and somehow we started, exchanging ideas. And Bello now has become a beast. In fact, that's why I tell him that he has, he's blown up. But nevertheless, let me jump back into it. So basically, what we do at my company is we try to tackle the issue of identity theft. I'm sure most of you have heard about the word identity theft and business email compromise. It may not be new to you. You've likely heard about Hush Puppy and his gang, the kind of things they were doing. They saying how they were stealing $500 million or still $500 million from people. These things are very real. And in fact, the image of Nigeria as a country and the image of Nigerian professionals that all of us are here has been tarnished. A lot of times people will not hire you because they just say, oh, this guy, you sure he's not, his hands are not clean, or they'll put you under extra scrutiny. Sometimes it happens like that because of the bad image that we have created for ourselves, in the area of identity scams. So what we are doing at Vsoclock is a company where mostly Nigerians in the company, we're building solutions that use cloud, artificial intelligence, and machine learning to fight some of those vices that you have, which are identity theft and business email compromise. So I'm going to share my screen shortly. I have a presentation I prepared on one of our products that we have just launched. The product is called Realme. And I will tell you at what point it leverages, this product leverages all three cloud systems from Amazon Web Services to Google Cloud and Azure, and how we used it all to create this. So without much ado, I will share my screen and yep, let's see. Okay, all right. Sorry, this Zoom can be a bit of a snag sometimes, but yep, full screen mode. Okay, cool. So this is an application, or this is a platform called Realme. And like the name entails, Realme, you want to actually tell somebody that this bit of communication that you sent came from Realme. That's the idea behind it. So it's an app that has been, if you go on the App Store and type Realme, or you go on Google Play, type Realme, you will find the app on the store. I'll show you what the app looks like and what the online version looks like. Now, this is a real life scenario. These are real life issues that we have seen. You have a lady called Ella. She has just been scammed. She received an email with instructions from her boss saying transfer 500,000 Canadian dollars to the new account for the new division they opened in Maldives. She wired the money. She's the accountant. Typically the boss will send the email. She will respond. The way they communicate in the office via email. So she just, oh, okay, boss, sent the money. Only for her to discover that the boss never sent that email. And she discovered it the next day. Now, upon careful scrutiny by the security team, they found out that the email was compromised. And in fact, it wasn't even the boss's email. It was something, the email of the boss had a comma, or I think it was an underscore they had next to it. But the human mind is not trained to actually see, read those small characters they see in emails to actually identify whether it's authentic or not. So that is a huge problem. And they hit this lady. Several companies have faced the same challenge. You have so many of them. In fact, on the news every day, you keep hearing about it. And this is how Hush Puppy and friends were able to actually sort of like siphon $500 million from companies all over the world using simple business email compromise. Now, you have another scenario. This one, in fact, this one is the most recent one, and it happened last week. This lady called Stella, not her real name, we changed the names, but it was a real story. She actually was laid off from her job, so she decided to apply for CERB. This is the Canada Emergency Response Benefit. Only when she applied, the thing told her that she's ineligible. So she was like, why am I ineligible? And the person on the phone said, okay, let me check the record. So according to the records, they found out that they said in her name that she has been receiving CERB payments for 4 months. 4 months she has been receiving payments, so she's not eligible because they said she had lapsed her CERB. And it turns out that someone else has been receiving the payment in her name. So imagine this, you lose your job, you call the government, you want to do EI, only to find out that somebody else has been collecting EI. And this is what our friends again, Hush Puppy and Woodbury and the rest of them in Dubai, this is what they were doing. They were doing this in the United States. They were calling and claiming identities of others. So this is a huge problem. When you call the government says, oh, we don't know how to stop this, just be vigilant. That's all they tell you, be vigilant, be vigilant, be vigilant. But how can you be vigilant, when she had nothing to do with this, but somehow her information was out there and she's been compromised? Now, I'm sure you guys, some of you heard about this. This made headlines 2 weeks ago, where Twitter was hacked. And there was a 17-year-old who was arrested for this hack just last week. Now, the Twitter hack, the guys posted messages on prominent social media accounts of Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Obama, saying, send $1,000 of Bitcoin to this account, and we will duplicate the amount you send. If you send 1,000, we'll send you 2,000 back. You won't believe that in just 4 hours, about almost, I think some people said about $7.8 million worth of Bitcoin was actually stolen or made. That's what those guys made in just 4 hours because they hacked this prominent account. And the new information that came out suggested that the hack was internal because somebody sent an email to a Twitter employee who had access to the administrative panel for Twitter. And because of this working from home thing where everybody's actually working remotely and all that, she clicked on the email and the thing gave the attacker access to Twitter. And that's how they were able to pull off this scam. Very, very interesting. But some of you might be, since this is a technology forum, I'm sure some of you here are well-versed in security and in tech. So, but these are some hard facts that I must tell you guys. First of all, we know that different organizations, you spend millions of dollars on training their employees on how to detect phishing mails. If you work for some of these companies in Canada, like for example, at Deloitte and even RBC, we used to get these scam emails that were sent to us from the internal team to test if who will actually click on it. And if you clicked on it, you ended up having to go for a training. So that sort of thing. They do this check and these trials and tests sometimes to see how the alertness is. And they spend millions of dollars to try to get people to know what's up. But yet, nevertheless, people are still getting scammed. And then the other thing is that with social distancing and remote work, due to COVID-19, these scams are going to increase. You're going to see more of them. You're going to see more people's accounts getting hacked. You're going to see more people losing money. You're going to see all of these things will making the news as we go on. And they all utilize what they call social engineering because it's not difficult. These guys are not just doing anything spectacular. They're just engineering using tricks, just getting that information out. And no tools out there, no current tools like VPN, firewalls, and the rest. They are all useless against social engineering. I'll explain that shortly. The other thing too is that I'm sure you guys know what two-factor authentication is. The thing whereby you want to go sign in, they send a text to your phone, you enter the code, that's two-factor authentication. In fact, there's a very, very, very embarrassing hack for two-factor authentication that if we show it to you, you would likely never use your bank again. You will probably go close your bank account, but it is very real out there. There's two-factor authentication is not as secure as you think, and it can be compromised. So that's where we brought up this product called Realme. And Realme was built by a team of Nigerians who are based in Canada, based in Calgary, Alberta, after years of research that I had done and a few other people had done too into cloud and into AI and biometrics. So basically, Realme uses cutting-edge AI and biometrics to protect your communication, as well as your entire organization from business email compromise and identity theft. So the keywords here are business email compromise and identity theft. Now, let's go in here. So this is how it works. So basically, Realme protects your emails. It comes as an app and it comes as a web portal. I'll show that shortly. And it protects your emails and social media and other things using what they call a biometric signature. Now, the biometric signature uses something we call multimodal biometrics. And multimodal means it combines different modes: facial recognition, which is powered by AI, and voice recognition, which is also powered by AI. as well as your on-device security and a few other behavioral traits that in artificial intelligence allows us to actually say that this is a particular person or this is not. The app is on the store. If you go to the App Store, you can check it out and see more about it. So how you use this basically is that if I'm sending a message, for example, say I'm sending a message to Bello right now. I say, oh, Bello, I'm stuck in Nigeria in Lagos Airport. I beg, send me $500 here. My card is not working right here. Send me $500 to my Nigeria account. This is the account I need you to send money to. Once I get my line up, I will return it back to you. If I send a message like that from Bello, he sees it looking like it's from me, Bello will send that money right away. He will not think twice. Just likewise, the other people too who are on this call. If you get a call from someone whom you are familiar with, who you generally you chat with or you communicate with, asking you for something that you generally you would do, you will definitely go ahead and expedite that. But that could even be from a scammer. That could be false. That email account could be hacked. But if you have Realme, if we throw Realme into the picture, the sender of this message can generate what they call a biometric signature. Attach that signature. It's like a digital signature that you have in emails. Attach it to your email. And when it gets on the other side, the recipient can actually verify that truly this message I'm seeing came from Bello or came from this particular person. I'll show you how that works anyway. Now, a bit more explanation about multimodal biometric security. I mentioned that we use different aspects like voice, fingerprint, facial authentication to protect your communications by generating that unique electronic signature and a liveness code that can only be created by you. So the beauty of this is that even if somebody stole your phone, even if somebody stole your device, if somebody tried to hack into your email, they cannot impersonate you. Because in order to generate the biometric signature that you attach, it has to be you, your real presence, your real personality. You've got to be there. I'll show you the demo now soon, and you will see that work. And so with Realme, you can as well just go to sleep knowing that nobody else, no matter how they try, nobody can actually break into your communication flow. Then there's another feature which we throw into the app. We call this feature secure messaging. And this is something that a lot of Nigerians will really appreciate. In fact, we built this for Nigeria. So, for example, now I'm sending a message to a friend. I'm sending a message to you. Typically, I'll use WhatsApp. Now, I send you some very, very, very confidential chat, or I send you some gossip, or I send you even something like a password, or I send you my account number. I want to send, maybe I'm sending my wife or my girlfriend or my brother or whatever, my account details. I want to send it, but I want to make sure that only that person can see that message. That's what secure messaging does within Realme. So with this feature, which you will demonstrate, you will be able to send a message to the person, only that person can receive it. And even if the person's phone is stolen or whatever, their password or account is hacked, they cannot open that message because it's not there. So that's a cool thing we have. The next thing you want to ask, I'm sure this question is likely in the minds of people here. How secure is this platform? Someone talking about hacks and all that. I'm sure you'll be asking, are you sure they cannot hack this thing? Are you sure they cannot break into it? What if they hack it? What happens and all that? So we are extremely secure, and we use what they call data protection policies of Google Cloud Platform. We use something called Cloudflare, which is an integral part of GCP. We use Microsoft Azure, and we use AWS. So we combine the three cloud technologies to actually create this solution. So if you have to hack us, you have to hack three clouds. In fact, you have to hack Google first before you can hack us. That's one of the key things about this. And we tell people that our data security policies are one of the best in the world, because by design, we develop these policies in such a way whereby the data protects itself. So if at the level of the database, it checks who is logged in. Only the person who is logged in can see their information. So if you try to see, I want to see someone else's, maybe I want to see his information, I want to see involved information, it will not work. The data itself will tell you, sorry, you're not paid. You can't see that. And there's AI involved that combines voice, fingerprint, and authentication. So you have to break, if you want to break into this, you have to break through multi-levels of security, which is almost impossible. Also, we have something called Anti-Spoofing Technology that is effective against different kinds of spoofs. Spoofs mean things like tricks, where somebody brings your picture, somebody brings your, tries to, impersonate you, either using a video and all that. It's all very effective against that. and it meets the requirements of FIDO and IBETA. So some companies or some individuals already have 2FA, and 2FA is good. That's two-factor authentication. It's fine. The only thing is that we say, in order to give yourself the level of protection that you probably desire, either as an individual or as an organization, it will be good to have add another layer, and that layer will be based on biometrics, and that layer will be based on AI, and that is where Realme comes in. So please feel free to go to the store, App Store, Play Store, and download Realme. And these are a few of the brands that are already on Realme. Like for example, we have a company called One Particle Incorporated here. They're using the platform to secure their messaging. They try to make sure that any message sent, for example, the boss or CEO who is sending a message to his CFO, he definitely will generate a biometric code and attach there so that the CFO knows that truly this actually came from him. You will see that in the demo shortly. We have VBank. We're in talks with VBank to create, if you don't know who VBank are, they're a new online bank in Nigeria. They currently have over 200,000 users. And we're trying to get them on Realme. It's looking very, very likely, very positive. In fact, that discussions are going on. We have Multimodal on it. You have Blu-ray systems, and even the Nigerian Stock Exchange. They're looking at how they're currently evaluating the Realme platform, and all that. So we'd like you to give it a try. Realme is free. If you go to the App Store, I will show you the site, and also on the App Store, you can go there, and you can get the app, install it, use it for free. And if you need more information, you can contact me on LinkedIn, or you can contact me on any of the regular channels. I'll leave my number, my email in the chat. So without much ado, let me switch to a demo and show you guys how this works. So I'll be sharing my screen again. All right. So, all right. Cool. So this is Realme. What you need to do is you just go to realme.io, or you go to realme.live. If you don't have the app, you can go to realme.live. This is where you can get the app. It tells you, takes you to the store. If you're on Android, it takes you to the Play Store. You can see the buttons here: download on iOS, download on Android. You go on the app, you set it up. The steps are very simple to onboard yourself, and you can start using it. Now, we also have something called the Realme Portal, which is what you call say realme.io. The portal is where the application lives. So when you have set the app up, you can use this on your desktop or on your mobile. So I'm going to log into my account. And I will sign in right here. All right, cool. So this is Realme. Now, you can see in my Realme account, I have a pro account. So in case you log in, you might see yours as saying trial. The trial account gives you what they call three authentications. But if you want to get on the pro, you will have to upgrade. The upgrade goes for, I think, $9.99 a month per user. I will show that shortly. On the mobile, I'm going to share my screen. Let me see. I think I'm not able to share my mobile. My mobile is joined here, but I would have liked to actually, just a second here, guys. Let me see if I can make myself a co-host on the mobile also. Yep. Sorry, can you make this guy? I have a second account here. Can you make this a co-host?
What's your name on what's the second name?
I think it's still Nejitawo. Yeah, there's another Nejitawo down here. That's my smartphone, so I can share the screen there.
Okay, yeah, good to go.
All right, cool, nice. So okay. All right, cool. So this is my mobile, and this is my Realme. So like we always say, most times demos, when you're doing a demo, you will be surprised that it will work. Sometimes it will misbehave, but this is going to work, I think. You have my profile here. When I created this account, I had to verify this email that I'm the owner of this email first. before it allowed me to onboard. And onboarding is a two-step process. First of all, you provide your username, and then you provide what they call your voice biometrics. Voice biometrics allows you to create something called a voice print. The voice print is like a fingerprint, but is actually known to you. So Realme uses your what you call your on-device biometrics fingerprint, and it uses voice security also, which is the AI-powered voice print that I mentioned. In this case now, I'm going to do something very quickly. I'm going to try to send a message to a friend telling them that I needed a request. I'll send something to Bello on WhatsApp using Realme. And I want him to know that truly it's actually me who generated this. It's me who actually sent that information. So first things first, generate biometric signature is what I will tap. The signature here, I will add a subject to that signature. The subject is like, what is the subject matter of that message? So I can say, help, I'm stuck in Lagos Airport. And I say generate. See, my Face ID will work first, then my password is not your business. So I have 5 seconds to actually say a phrase, and you see identity verification successful. If somebody else had tried to do this, it wouldn't work. So when I do this now, you can see this is a QR code that is showing. So this is my biometric signature right here. What you see right here, biometric signature. I can copy this now. I can go to my email, or let me go to my, let me just craft a short email here. And I will just say compose. You see, this is from nejifresh@gmail.com. It's the same account that I use for Realme. So I can come here, Bello, and I can say, bro.
No, Neji.
Yep.
Oh, you want to send it to me on my phone?
Yeah. I'm sending it to you. Don't worry. I will show how it's verified. Now I'm sending this to you right here, and I can say, bro, wahala, don't boss. I beg, send that something. Let me 100. This talk. You're surprised how easy it is to type Pidgin English. For Lagos Airport. Cool. Thanks. And then I can just remember earlier on we generated the code, the biometric signature code, so I can paste it here. So you can see that within this code, it tells you can verify the authenticity of this message by using my biometric signature code, blah 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 blah, or click this link, blah blah blah. I send this information out to Bello. Now on his side, this is what he would do. He would receive the message. It will come in his inbox, but in this case, I will go to my outbox here, and he will see this. That this message comes with a way to authenticate or to verify that the real person who sent it is the person who you're talking to. So in this instance, I can either go to realme.io right here, or I can even copy the code. Let me copy the code and do it on the app right here. And I can say verify a biometric signature. So if I receive the code with a QR, there's an option to get it. I could have scanned that QR, that code right away, and you show who sent it. Or I can enter the code here. Let me just paste this right here and say verify. And this is what you will see. So you see that this is an authentic biometric code generated by Nejitawo using the email nejifresh@gmail.com with the subject matter that help, I'm stuck in Lagos. So you see that subject matter will correspond to the message I received, and it was created by so and so time. Now, the technology you see here is powered by the cloud, and it's powered by, we're building something that works like a blockchain. So the information you see that is tied to this code is immutable, cannot be changed, cannot be edited. So even if somebody found a way to hack into this code, they cannot change who generated it. They cannot do anything to it. I'm sure most of you know blockchain. Blockchain is the technology that's immutable. So that's what we did here with this. And it's all running on the cloud, AWS and Google Cloud. That's what you can do here with that. Now, the other feature also, I mentioned that we have what they call a secure messaging system inside the app, and also on the portal too. Now, the messaging system allows us to communicate. There's a guy here called TJ, my partner here. If I want to send him a message or open the chat with him, see what happens. See, it's looking for me. It wouldn't open. First of all, it didn't recognize that. I'm going to move in now. I'll authenticate now. Then I must use my voice now. You can activate security system now. So the voice recognition system, it knows me. We've tested this thing with over 1,000 people, and it is absolutely amazing. Now, when I do this, you can see this is a chat. This is a communication TJ and I had. We've had random communications, and we use this platform in real time to actually communicate. If I want to send stuff to them, the guys on the team, I don't go send it to WhatsApp. If it's something sensitive, I send it through Realme. I can now say, hi, bro, I'm doing a demo. Yeah. And on his part, he will receive it. If he receives it, he gets it as a push, he will respond. In fact, let me even do one right away. I have Anna here, my partner here. So I would authenticate again. Houston, we have had a problem. This one may not work like that because okay, it worked. My voice pronouncing Houston. So you must actually say what's in here. So you can see the communications we have here. And I can send a photo, I can send a video, I can send a file, I can do a voice recording, and I can just say, hello, sir. And while I'm chatting with him, he has received the message, and he can reply. So while I'm on the chat, it has become an instant messaging solution with all the features that you find on WhatsApp or Insta. But the only thing is that, yeah. And he has to authenticate on his part to see the message that I sent to him. He works perfectly on his side. He's right here beside me, and he's going to send his own message too. And you will see that through here. So all this was built in-house. We have every bit of code. Every bit of code you see here was written from scratch. There's everything, nothing outsourced. Everything, we built everything from scratch here. And yeah, I just sent that to him here. So that's what secure messaging does. Now, there's something I need to also show you guys also. I will stop sharing on this side, and I'll go back to my desktop. On my desktop now, I am on the Realme, the version of Realme that is on the desktop. Now, this is what a lot of times, this is what corporate users would like to do. It has the same thing. It has the same secure mail. You can think of this like the Microsoft Outlook. This is the chat I just had right here. And most of the time, if you're in an office setting, you will likely be working on a desktop PC. So in essence, I'm going to generate a signature. If I'm to do a signature generation here, it will request the same thing that I am supposed to do. I want to send this one out. Maybe I want to send this to talk about presentation. This is what the signature is supposed to say, and I generate it. So in order for this, I sent a message to my phone. I have to authenticate for the signature to come out on my phone. So it sent a request to my phone. I'm going to verify it on my phone. And Houston, we have had a problem. So let's see whether it works. Okay, it works on my phone, and you can see perfectly it's been generated here, and I can copy this and do whatever I want with it right here. Because my internet connection is a bit funny and all that. So with this platform, organizations can actually secure their communications and protect themselves from email compromise. A director has to send a message to his employees, and he wants to make sure that truly they can verify that this really came from him. It was used really neat. A company that handles suppliers, for example, a supplier wants to notify a company that their account details have changed. Rather than just sending a dumb email that says, hello, sir, this is our new account details, because that's how these hackers work. They will generate the code using Realme, include that in there, and also send it. And also, I want you guys to know, if you go to realme.io, you can verify a biometric code from here. So you don't necessarily need to have an account with us to actually verify a code. So, but to send a code out, you have to go on the store, get the app, set it up, and create an account with Realme. Or you have to subscribe after your trial period, after your trial usage ends. So yeah, in a nutshell, I think this is where we are. We can start taking questions from now, and I'll be happy to respond.
Fantastic.
Yes.
This is great. Awesome.
Thank you.
Well done, Neji. Nice one.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Nee. I know there will be tons of questions for sure.
Yes. Okay, we'll kickstart the questions from some that we have in the chat box already. And before we actually go to ask people to ask questions directly, actually put in the participant section already. So the first question I'll be asking tonight is coming from Danny Boy. It's saying, for a starter and someone interested in DevOps or data engineering, what steps would you advise one to take? For example, a typical job requires multiple skills like AWS, knowledge, CI/CD, pipelines, and plenty of other things. So where does one start from?
Okay. Bello, you want me to take that, or you want to go with that?
Oh, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So the person who asked this question, why I'm specifically interested in answering this, is because I was in your shoes at one time. Confusion about where to actually start. What I will tell you is that in this field, in IT, it's an ever continuous chain of learning. So you typically start with one, and AWS is a very good place to start. Once you've been able to do your basics, which is like the solution architecture bit, you can now decide to go into the data engineering bit or the security bit, like they specify. But there are a set of basic skills that you will need. First of all, you must open your mind to coding. At least you must learn Python, no matter what. I code in 9 languages, and I'm still learning more. And I've got a lot of people tell me that, but you don't code now. You're supposed to chill and all that. And I'm like, guy, the new people will come up, the new things will come up and all that. So you have to open your mind to knowledge. Bello here has written almost 9 certifications in the last 1.5 years, just in this short period of time. Always improving himself, always trying to be, notwithstanding that he has acquired so much knowledge. Looking forward to, I need to learn this, I need to know this, I need to master this. So that's the attitude that you must actually evoke. So one advice, please leave what you know in Nigeria. Don't bring that thing here. That's one thing I would advise you sincerely. Because in Nigeria, there are still people who, like that, and that's the problem with our educational system. Somebody knows for Trans 77, and that's what he's teaching, and he refuses to learn anything else. So that's why that's why the school educational system is the way it is. That's why it is. So just once you open your mind to that, take on the relevant courses you need to do. Go on Udemy. Take it step by step. Don't rush it. Take it step by step. But eventually you will learn and you would expose yourself to all those areas.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Next, I'll be calling Raman. Raman, please go ahead and unmute yourself and ask a question.
Thanks a lot. Thank you so much, Neji and Mohammed, for this wonderful session today. And Neji, you guys have a fantastic software as well. I just saw the demo, and it's got a lovely interface, so well done on that.
Thank you.
So I was just being curious about artificial intelligence, right? Because my background is, I've been a PM for about maybe 10 years now, doing application development projects and infrastructure projects. So a couple of months ago, I started down the cloud paths. I did the AWS CCP and the Azure fundamentals. And while doing that, I kind of stumbled across artificial intelligence as one of the key modules that these two platforms do offer. So right now, I'm doing my postgraduate program with University of Austin, and that's in artificial intelligence for business leaders. So I'm just being careful here. It's like I'm getting lost myself now. So I want to put a cap to that and just want to explore the AI field as much as I can, right? So I was just wondering, what kind of job opportunities do you think is out there for people that have that AI, that have that background in AI, and what kind of trainings do you think I can sort of also explore as well to make me expand and get more opportunities in that field? Basically on artificial intelligence.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll take this one because AI is my field. First of all, I'll tell you congratulations for finding your passion. That's the first thing I'll tell you.
Thank you.
And you see, the field of artificial intelligence is very, very rewarding. In fact, to me, I live, I breathe, I speak AI every day, and it's amazing because of all the trend. You see, a lot of the things that we have today were given birth to by the cloud, and AI is everywhere. It's on your phone, it's on Netflix, it's on everywhere, and the demand, according to the statistics show that the demand for people with skills in this area, the demand is going to keep skyrocketing. If you go on LinkedIn, you will see, just type in data scientist or machine learning engineer, you will see a ton of jobs. They cannot find enough people. Now, if you're based in Canada, even better for you, because with our guy down south, doing his immigration wahala, it's helping us in Canada. So all the guys, first of all, all the geeks in the valley are all moving up north. Now the companies now can't find enough talent down south, so they too are all moving up north. So it's creating even the demand for people with those skills has become greater than ever. So yes, I would really encourage that you first of all make sure you gotten, like you said, you've got done your CCP, AWS CCP, which is a good start, and then delve into AI, not just only at the higher level or the, like what you said, the course you're doing, AI for business. Delve into it at the lower levels. Try to understand what's going on. If you can, get into the math of it, neural network, deep learning, expose yourself from there. So because the truth is, like Bello said, nobody has 10 years experience in this thing. Anybody who has more than 3 years experience in this field is a dinosaur. Take it from me. If you have more than anybody claiming you have more than 3 years experience in cloud, you're a dinosaur. Maybe you knew cloud when it was only EC2 instances, but today you're talking about serverless. In fact, I had experience when I joined RBC. I was like, oh, I'm a cloud guy. I joined, I showed up there. And they looked at me and were like, okay, what have you done on that? I was like, I used to build, deploy WordPress websites on EC2 using CloudFormation and all that stuff. And they were like, sorry, we don't do that here. That's not, first of all, it's not secure. Two, it's obsolete, So you have to keep updating yourself and opening yourself to knowledge. So the opportunities are vast, sincerely, and it's a very good path and a good time to be on it.
Thank you so much, Neji. I'm glad I made it here today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, next question is coming from the chat also. So is machine learning or AI used in the app developed by your team, or it depends on AWS and Google?
Well, a lot of in fact, machine learning is at the core of it. The core of everything you've seen is all machine learning. And where do you host the machine learning models that you build? Where do you leverage on that? You have to go on a cloud platform. So that's where the skills on Google and AWS come in. Because it's one thing to be able to build machine learning models, another thing you don't know where to host them, or you don't even know where to train them. So yes, we are heavily machine learning and AI centric, and we are hosted on Google and AWS and even Azure.
Okay, thank you for that. Next, I'll be calling on Wally Balogun. Kindly unmute yourself and ask a question. Wally Balogun. Okay, pending when answers, let's go to Bukola Adewoye.
Hello. No, I don't think I had a question.
Okay, you are raising your hand. Okay, all right, that's fine.
Oh, sorry about that.
Okay, no problem. Thanks. Okay, next, I'll go to the chat box again. Mencino has a question. It's saying, what would you advise one that wants to go into cloud? Where and how do you start?
Okay, I think Bello, you should take that one. Oh.
Sorry, could you repeat that last bit? I think I kind of missed it.
Okay, so how would you advise someone that wants to go into cloud? Where and how do you start?
Well, for me, really, is to have a result that you're just going to continue to learn. Start small, right? The first time I tried to write the AWS Solutions Architect exams, in the month of January, I'd passed my QA, CISM, and Scrum Master certification all in 1 month. So I thought, okay, Neji would encourage you, yeah, go and write solutions. I went to write it 2-3 weeks of study. I failed, right? And that really got to me, and I had to really start to dig in. It doesn't matter how slow you're going, so long you're not where you were yesterday. And again, just always also remember that we're all amateurs until we solve the problem. Then we become professionals, right? Essentially, I'll say start at a Cloud Guru or Linux Academy. Google stuff. I can have 20 tabs open because I'm looking for one answer, but I found answers to questions that I did not even ask, and I learned things. Build something, deploy a server, understand why it worked this time, why it didn't work, work your way out of trouble. That is truly the only way that you will truly learn it. And really just take your time to go through the motions and take a break and come back to it. So I gave myself another year, and by the time I really got into it, I realized that I got my first job without a certification. So it's not even about the certification. It doesn't matter. I don't even think Neji cares about certifications at all, right? It is really, what you build. What if you have a portfolio of things that you have built is better than someone that has 20 certifications, right? And so build something. It can just be a hello world, and try to walk through the motions. And again, the online resources, they do truly help. So that's where I'll start.
Okay, thank you for that. I'll be calling on UI. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. And many thanks to the presenters of the night. Unfortunately, I came in late. I met the first the gentleman in red. With his closing remarks was what I met. But the other gentleman that elaborated a lot on his achievements, I was part of his presentation. First of all, I see most of you in the cloud. You're always using MacBook. Is there anything special about MacBook? And then secondly, your product, I see many of these authentication utilities first force you to have a password so that if it fails, you can fall back on your password. But I don't see your product asking you for password, or was it, already implied? You already have a password, so the system didn't need to ask you to create one. And then how does this help? Like you said, in the scenario you painted, the lady got an email from the boss and clicked on it, and the unexpected happened. How does this app guard against that kind of attack? These are my questions for now.
Okay, UI, I would say I'm very, very, very happy with the questions you've asked. They are very, very relevant questions and very intelligent questions. First of all, the reason why we all use Macs is that most of the cloud is 80% Unix, Linux. Most of the cloud. That's one. In fact, that's one area that you must at least have a basic grasp on to actually really succeed in this field. Linux. We back home we are used to Windows and all that. So, but eventually when we become cloud experts, most of the commands we use the shell and the black screen, in fact, like you can call it. and it's mostly Linux commands. So that's why we just quickly just go on the Mac for that. Then regarding the aspect of passwords not in the system, what happened was that I had already signed into the app. The way the app works is that you must create a profile first, which requires a username and a password. And then you must now log in. Now, during profile creation, we verify that that email address or that phone number that you signed up with, that you are the owner. We send you a verification link or a text to that email, that phone number, and it will read it out and do the authentication for you. So once you are authenticated, you don't need to log in again, in and out. Now, where the security starts in the app is that we don't use your password for anything, because we assume that somebody else can have your password. Someone else can hack your account. But even if they hack your account, they can't do anything with it, because your biometrics, your real password, is you, really you. That's what we call it, really me. So even if my account was compromised, there's nothing they can do. Now, in the event, we have multiple biometric modes of biometric authentication on the system. If you're on Android, it will ask you for a fingerprint, and then you must use your voice. And we use a very, very powerful AI system that is built on some very, very complicated neural networks, some A-level kind of stuff. And the failure rate is very, very, very small. Like we've not had anybody who has failed with it so far, and we're looking forward to testing this further, having more people on it. The artificial intelligence is trained to recognize you as a speaker, and the on-device biometrics, first of all, has to authenticate you first before it even does that. Then in the event that if you are locked out, it's a simple thing of just contacting support. It's a very simple process in there. You just send the support ticket and they can do that, and we can resolve that for you in that regard. Now, finally, the lady in the story that we showed up, we mentioned that she had served her whatever was her served payments were stolen by someone else. Now, if the CRA had really me, that would not have happened. Because when, as part of the process for serve, they would have requested her to do an authentication to verify. It's like sending an OTP. Are you the person here, or are you the real user of this account, or are you the owner of this? In fact, we have another product that handles this particular use case, and that product is called Very Stealth. Just because of time, I would have just shown it to you. That one is built specifically for this particular use case. Now, the first person that you saw who received an email from the boss, still on your question, if the boss had really me, the boss would have generated a biometric signature, included it in that message, that instruction he sent to her to process the transaction, and she would have verified it easily before making that payment. But because there was nothing like that existed, they lost $500,000. So I hope that sort of answers your question, and I'm willing to take more if you have any more discussions on that.
It perfectly does, and many thanks for your responses.
Okay.
I will be getting in touch after now.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
The next question is from Chidi. He's asking, what are your thoughts on the future of private and hybrid clouds?
Bello, maybe you take that one.
You want to take it?
No,
what are the features?
What are your thoughts
on
the future of private and hybrid clouds?
Well, it all depends on the industry that you are, you're referring to. In the banking sector, or where you have electronic health records, or where you need to have a highly elevated security framework implemented, right? You might decide that you want to keep your data in the private cloud. So it's always going to be here. As a matter of fact, there's a hybrid cloud for a reason. It's because people can't decide whether they want to go public or private, so it's just hybrid. So by hybrid, you're in essence already still in the private cloud and also the public cloud. but one thing for sure, the cloud is the common denominator. And
what are you guys doing outside?
is a common denominator here, and essentially there's a big feature. It doesn't have to be either or. You know, it can be both, depending on the industry that you're playing in.
Okay, thank you. Danny Boy, please go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, thanks so much. First is I want to say well done to Neji and Bello. Very precise and interactive presentations. I'm particularly inspired and I'm kind of proud to to be a Nigerian based on both presentations.
Okay, I think we Danny Boy dropped. Okay, pending when it comes back, I think I'll go ahead and ask the next question. Okay, hello, Danny Boy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay, please go on.
Oh, okay. Sorry for breaking network. I said I'm particularly proud to be a Nigerian based on the fact that, while individuals might be saying, Nigerians are known for certain things, I can easily point to, oh, I know a guy here and here that has this product that is actually, combating and fighting against this kind of particular situation. So I'm kind of inspired, and thanks for those two presentations. What I want to say is, or the question I want to ask is regarding certifications and experience. Okay. Even after all the certifications, after you must have written a couple of certifications and maybe built some stuff or built some products, how do you then get your first major opportunity, or your first opportunity to either your first gig or opportunity to work with a company or do something on your own?
Well, let me take that. So, so I figured out that I was trying to be an auditor. I was trying to be a security specialist or project manager, yeah, we all know it. That there are a lot of people in that space, and to a point I didn't even get any callbacks. And so I'd given up, and at the point before getting there, I was waiting till I got my certification. And please, let's be clear, you don't need a certification to get a job in the cloud space. You don't. I didn't have a certification before I got my first job. I dare you to
sorry, Bello, let me chip in something. I don't have a certification either.
Neji doesn't have a certification.
Oh.
He doesn't even care about them, right? And the point I'm trying to make here is that all you have to do is just put that small cloud. That's all you need to do. So whilst I was there chasing, the market is now turned around, and I'm being chased. So I never really had to apply for any jobs anymore. So it's not a case of how do you get a job. It is a case of which job. And I'm saying this without exaggerating. That is the market that it is. We don't have enough Black people in this industry. We don't have people exploring these opportunities that a lot of people are taking for granted. And when you get in, you now realize that there are a lot of people there that will be asking you questions, right? And you're also learning. And so please, fearlessly, attend, ask questions, or rather, just go for those interviews, or, put yourself out there and see what you find.
Also, to add to that, because that's a very important point you raised. You see, a lot of people, is this same mindset that we carry from Nigeria and come here, where we certificate mindset. Mine might be a bit extreme. I'm not asking you to do it, but I've never used my certificate before. I'm actually an electronic engineer. I don't even know what wire is anymore, But the thing is, as long as you're able to assimilate the knowledge, and demonstrate competence, trust me, you will be fine. Like Bello said, recruiters, and I told Bello this thing when he started, I said, see, the time will come, they will be chasing you, you will be the one telling recruiters, guy, leave me alone. You know, and I'm sure if you open his LinkedIn, you will see that. You know, so without the beauty about this part of the world is that you are tested based on what you know. You know, it's based on what you know, what you can demonstrate. So I advise you, get as much knowledge as you can. It doesn't end with writing a certification exam. You know, go for join groups, you know, meetups, you know, volunteer for projects, do a whole bunch of your own projects on the side. I think all that kind of stuff that you know that will help you build confidence. And the time when it gets to the point whereby you demonstrate, like look at these things here, there are people, I don't have any of these certifications, but I can bet you I know AWS more than a whole lot of people. You know, but nevertheless, that's not to beat my own trumpet. But the point I'm making to you is that it's not about the paper, it's about what you know. I saw a question somewhere on the board that said, for your app, your storage is AWS. What about the app front end? Do you need to learn iOS and Google Developer? I think I want to take that because that's also important. It's still part of the knowledge chain. For example, this app was built using what they call Flutter. Flutter is a tool that allows you to write both Android and iOS apps simultaneously at the same time. You know, and I used to work as an Android developer in Nigeria. I did Android for almost 8 years. I also did iOS development too. So I do mobile development also. You know, but nevertheless, opening myself up to newer technologies, to knowledge, allowed me to find Flutter and allowed me to write the application myself without needing to outsource any part out there. So yes, it's a good skill to have. Mobile development, you can't go wrong with it too. And it ties very well with the cloud.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, now, Wale, please go ahead and ask the question. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. My question is simple and straightforward. I'll just give a little background because I don't have much on my phone. The question is, I've listened to you for the past 50 minutes and how impressive this Realme stuff that you put out there. And I know there are some other things that maybe you have not told us you're still coming up with your team. Now, the question is simple. We are Nigerians, doing great things here in the foreign land, so to speak. When are we going to export this expertise to Nigeria? With all the things going on, for the few months that I've been here, over 12 months, I've seen how technology is being utilized for the benefit of the society in Canada. And I'm going to speak specifically about two things, about the SIN number, the social insurance number, and the credit card. Recently, you all would have heard of the news that ShopRite is trying to pull out of Nigeria. Then I posted on my WhatsApp DM that if there's a credit card scheme in Nigeria, that's going to help a lot in the purchasing power of people, and businesses will be able to, will be able to thrive. And somebody replied to my DM that and said, EcoBank has tried credit cards, and they got their fingers burnt. People collect credit, and they disappeared. And I thought of it that if each and every Nigerian has a number like the BVN that they can be traced with, then you can't collect credit card, you can't collect credit facilities and disappear into thin air. Now, when are we going, with all our expertise here, if as an IT person, you are working in Nigeria and you have moved to Canada in the last 1 year, I want to believe that, your expertise has increased beyond what you know while you were in Nigeria. So, but my question is, when are we going to sell this expertise to solve part of the Nigerian problem? That is my question.
Wale, thank you very much for answering that question. In fact, that's a question I'm sure is very meaningful to a lot of us here. And I will just tell you a small story. This is my own personal story. Please, I don't mean to offend anybody, but it's my personal experience. I I should have come to Canada in 2005, 26. In fact, 26 when I left university. My brothers were here. I was six in the family, 6 boys, no girl. So 4 of my brothers, all my brothers moved here way back. Our dad schooled here, so they moved here. I refused to come. I said I was going to stay in Nigeria and solve Nigeria's problem. That mindset, you know. And yeah, I did my bit. I did well, but I learned something. At every turn, I kept getting burned because Nigeria is not ready for people like us. That's the truth. Now, let me tell you why I say that. The basic requirement for systems to work is a database. A database. Nigeria no get database. How do you give a credit card to the guy in Mushin, you know, and do you know where he lives? Do you know what do you know about him? The guy in Sokoto, who's also from Niger, you know, he's probably from Niger, but he tells he's from Sokoto. So we don't even know ourselves. We cannot really enumerate and say, oh, we are 100 million Nigerians. We don't even know how many we are. So that's the business. So there's no database. The telcos tried to do something with MTN and the rest of them. They did their best, but nevertheless, the politics, the system there does not favor innovators, people like you. And that's why we had to find our way back down here. But talking about the problem is not enough. We also have a solution. I'll just show you a screenshot of what we are doing right now. This is a product that we are developing in collaboration with Z-Bank. We are launching it shortly. We've launched it here in Canada. It's called VeriSoft. It's a twin to Realme. And we're trying to build what they call like a national AI-based database gateway that can sort of help people identify, the company can identify, oh, this is who this person is, using things like location, using biometrics, using all that, so, and on the fly. So this is something we're doing. So you guys are like the first to see it. It's an amazing project that we'll launch shortly, and we hope that maybe at some point it will help, you know, we'll do our part for that country. So yeah, a lot of people here, I would just encourage everyone, like, apart from being an IT professional, think like an entrepreneur. There's still opportunities back in Nigeria that you might find, you know, you might find, what do you call it? You might want to get onto. So that way, that's how I think we will change Nigeria when we go a bit.
Thank you, Neji. The time is already far gone, and we still have a lot of questions. But I want to crave our indulgence to just take 2 more questions before we end the session. So next, I'll be calling on Gwemi. Please go ahead and ask a question.
Yeah, hello. Good evening, all. Yeah, this has been a very, very insightful session for me, and it resonates with me a lot. Same as Rahman said, that is a PM. It's been a PM for a while. So I have been in tech too, and I'm currently a PM. I've done application. I'm currently in the infrastructure space, and I have been a cloud enthusiast for a while. So really, I've done the initial step of doing the AWS solution architect one. But then I've still had the issue of trying to decide whether to go full in to solution architecture or remain in my PM space. And that's because I know that there is no way you can really do solution architecture without embracing automation. Really, as Mohammed Bello says, that the beauty of it is really being able to automate everything instead of doing things manually, building elasticity and a lot of agility into these things. So for me, I don't know if I can get a mentor out of the 2 of you, really, because I know that I need to learn a lot. I was with a friend recently that was taking me through his architecture. I was able to use Kubernetes to do a lot of things. He even built a multi-cloud. He used Google services, AWS, and Azure to do a lot of things. And I was really wowed But I know that for me to be able to do all those, it requires me to have coding skills, and I've been running away from coding for a while. But I'm so wowed by the whole thing, really. So that's just my contribution and my sort of question. Thank you.
Well, okay. Well, I'm not going to take a lot of time. Nature might have something to say as well. But Remy Kudrant, I'll just encourage you to carry on doing what you're doing. See, where I work, right? My boss, he's not a cloud expert, but he knows enough to manage, right? You don't have to know it all, but you need to be able to speak the language. You need to be able to take it from the boardroom all the way back into the field. You need to be able to get your hands dirty. But a simple programming language that you can learn, key value pairs, YAML, right? You have key, you got values. And it's not to cram the code. It's not to, I don't know. I learned TypeScript, I learned Python, C++, but I have a computing background. But we don't remember all the code all the time. It is a way of thinking, right? It's 10% coding, 90% researching, debugging, understanding why something worked, it didn't work, right? Until you become more familiar with it. Anyone that requires you to be a 10x coder, right? They're lying to themselves. You cannot know every aspect of it, right? Unless you're an Asian. But but point is, please, I beg of you, don't stop there, right? Keep going. Learn one, pick one, and see how you feel about it. And give yourself time and be patient with yourself. Pick YAML or JSON, right? And trust me, with that alone, and I'm sure you agree with me, right? It's very simple, it's human readable. It starts to make sense, right, over time. So that's all. I'm just gonna leave that there. And I really hope that, you go full on into coding, at your own pace.
Okay, I want to chip in with what Bello has said. First of all, yeah, you can message any of us on LinkedIn. You can message me on LinkedIn. I would be glad to actually provide you some materials and mentorship, because sincerely, to me, my passion for this thing is seeing that Nigerians, we are helping ourselves. Because if you look at the other guys, look at the Asians, look at the Indian people, so many times I've been in positions where I'm the only black person there, 800 people, the only black person there, and it wasn't always very nice, so as many of us who can come into the field, please, it would be amazing. Just reach out. And then don't fear programming. Like Bello said, programming is 80% implemented, 80% logic, and 20% syntax. So it's just a way of thinking. And unfortunately, some people did computer science in school. The teachers were horrible. They taught crap, and they didn't take it that way. I've been a teacher before. I used to teach at AppTech. My first job in 2006 was at AppTech as an instructor. And my students today, some of them are all over the world, like top programmers and developers all over the world today. So yeah, just reach out. Feel free to reach out. I can send you a bunch of materials on LinkedIn, on Udemy also, and a few things too. And Python is a good place to start. It's a beautiful, sweet language, very easy. Don't fear it. I'll take go with Python.
Okay, thank you very much. The last question for tonight is from Ayagunbiade. So he's asking, for a starter in cloud computing, which of the cloud service provider would you recommend to start with first?
Well, I'm an AWS enthusiast, so I'll say start with AWS. For my own, I can't honestly, I really can't pick or choose. There are a lot more Azure jobs out there, a lot more. Or perhaps, not the same borders, the Americas, you'll find a lot more Azure jobs, right? But again, AWS has the largest market, so it means as well that there's a lot of opportunities there for AWS as well. Neji, what are your thoughts?
Well, I would say start with AWS. Go with AWS. The reason is that the basis of the cloud, AWS invented the cloud, what we call cloud today. And what the knowledge is actually transferable across clouds. Start with AWS. Learn the basics of AWS. Learn S3, learn EC2, learn Lambda, because each of these core utilities within AWS have their own representations in Azure. So Azure mirrors Google Cloud. They all mirror AWS. So once you learn AWS, you will be, trust me, you will be fine. And that's like Bello said, they have the largest market share. So you're much more likely to find your skills transferable from AWS to Azure than vice versa. So yeah, please go with AWS for a start.
Hey, okay. I would like to apologize at this time. I still have so many questions coming in.
I guess we can take one or two more, unless anyone.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you for that. Okay, Samuel, please go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you, Bello, for accepting to take one more question. And I want to thank you guys, and I want to, this is my first session, and this has been a great opportunity. I've actually been passionate about cloud computing, really, but I just want to chip in something like you both said. Unfortunately, I lost an opportunity today because I didn't have certification in cloud. And yeah, I'm also like an advocate of you don't need certification to probably get a job. But I think maybe the trend right now, you go left and right, you go on LinkedIn, and what you see is AWS Solution Architect certification now, this tomorrow, this next tomorrow. And I can testify to the fact that I've actually received some messages about people asking me they can help me to write certifications and stuff like that, which I actually ignored. I'm not a certification fan. And the sad thing was that the fact is I've deployed a lot of stuff on the cloud. Like Billy rightly said, I've written Solution Architect twice and I failed, and I'm proud of that. And the fact is, what do you have to say at regards certification now and the experience? Don't you think my own certification kind of give you a leverage from the recruiter to call you in? Then from the hiring manager, it's all about the language. It's all about what you can actually bring to the table. And I see a recruiter sending me a mail that your resume looks good, you have all it takes, you have the experience, but the certification is required. And I've sent a message to her that, you know what, get me to the hiring manager, and I think I should be able to approve myself. And and I couldn't get that opportunity. I just want to can you clarify that aspect, in terms of certification? And the second question is, it's also about mentoring. And I think Ramat or Kudrat has the question, but my point is, can you take the mentoring to the next level in such a way? Are you guys looking at the way to set up something, not a coaching, whatever, but where you can actually have an hands-on real life project that you think your proteges can actually be able to learn from? Because yeah, really, I can take up trainings on Udemy and co, but I'm limited to the kind of deployment I can do with those with those knowledge. But if I can get something from you that are in the field and you have the experience, probably to just deploy one or two things, I think that will go a long way. Thank you. That's my
question. So Samuel, I think I'll take the first question, then Bello, you can take the next one, please. First of all, that case, your own scenario, I'm thinking, first of all, the fringe case, because this is the first one I've heard. So sincerely, I have not heard anywhere where they turned you down for a cloud role because you didn't have a certification. So it's possibly a fringe case. As a case where a recruiter, that particular recruiter, doesn't even know cloud. That is, I'm just telling you, maybe that so I will advise you keep applying. At the same time, getting certification is not bad. That's you need to get it here. The point we made is that we didn't say you shouldn't get a certification. The point we made is that you can actually excel in this field without the certification. The certification is good. It can get you through the door. In this instance, you couldn't get through the door because the recruiter in place sees certification. That recruiter must have a very old mindset. I've done a lot of interviews. This is my own personal experience. A ton of interviews, a ton of, all they look at once they see my LinkedIn profile, they see my projects. You also, another thing is also how do you structure your resume and your profile also. You talk about your projects, real life projects. Those things resonate better with companies than even paper. Like you said, people are writing certifications for people today. Somebody tells you, all right to give you AWS, and all. They're scamming these things up and down the place. Anyway, that's what we're here to do, to stop it. That's those sort of scams. But regarding this case, I would say improve yourself. Go for the certification if you feel if it has to be. Get the certification. But at the same time, experience counts more. That's what I'll put. So, Bell, over to you.
Yeah, I guess, you sort of answered the other question as well. But yeah, honestly, anyone that tells you that you need a certification, there was probably a different reason why they didn't want to go forward with you. Don't let anyone tell you that, as I said earlier, most organizations are just getting into the cloud and they can't be more than 3 years old. So take a look at the job description. If it says more than 7 years or more than 3-4 years, just know they don't really know what they're talking about. In terms of mentoring, yes, I'll be very happy to show you a couple of things and, just give you some resources that have helped me. My journey, I can share some of my work with you. And, but really it's 95% self-study and 5% of you, reaching out to your network. So, you can consider me as being part of your network, and feel free to reach out as well in that regard. So, yeah.
Wow. Fantastic. Nee, do we have any other question? I think that's the last question, right?
There are still so many others, but let me just take the last one. And
because the one you want to take now, is he a lady or a guy?
The guy.
we need more of the ladies, right? To ask questions. How many ladies have asked questions so far? Probably 1 or 2.
Me.
Can we get a lady? One more lady, please.
Okay, Ola. Okay, that's fine. Ola, please go ahead and ask a question.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I can't hear you guys, but my question is that for someone coming from a business environment, how can we leverage on AI and ML? Because we've been hearing about this. We're trying to I've been trying to figure out where can I fit in as a BA, because I am a BA, right? Where can I fit in that environment? Or what do I need to actually have as a certification to be in that environment?
Okay. I will just give you a small answer, because I had someone a Nigerian lady who also contacted me for 6 months ago. She just moved over to the country, to Canada. She was a BA and all that, and she was trying to get into the space. So the advice I gave her was, you know what, go up your skills. There are business analytics courses you can take on Udemy that will teach you from a business and a BA perspective. They will teach you this field. They will teach you the field, the relevant areas where AI and machine learning and all the other things and statistical analysis can be utilized to enhance most of the work you do in your field. So the answer to that is just you have to keep updating yourself, get the right courses. I can send you a message on LinkedIn. I can reply you with that particular course. I've seen the course that says analytics for business analysts. That's like it's purely statistics, analytics, the same thing you learn typically in that. Then there's also the the applications of AI for business people. There's also the business aspect of it too. So you can look into that and just add to your knowledge on there, and you will see yourself blossom.
Yeah. This is great. This is great. I mean, ordinarily this is a session of 90 minutes, but here we are, right? Close to 2 hours. That is obviously to show how interesting this session has been. Great conversation, great, excellent delivery from Bello and Neji. Then, of course, NIPCA members as well and participants. Great questions as well. So many questions are still popping up. So what I will say is, for those questions, please feel free to send your questions to info@nipca.ca. For those that still have more questions, just send it to info@nipca.ca. So once those questions comes, it's going to be collated and pass across to Bello or Neji, and they will provide they will help us with answers to that. But because of time, we might not be able to take on more questions. So this is more like especially to appreciate Bello for this great opportunity. Bello and myself we've been speaking for, I think, over 2 months right now. Trying to track you down, but it's been tough. But finally, I'm really happy and excited when you say, okay, yep, let's do this. And not just doing it, but you're able to convince Neji to come around as well. This has been a great exposition for us. We're very happy to having you guys in our midst tonight. Thank you, Bello, and thank you, Neji. We really appreciate you guys.
Well, thank you very much, guys, for having us, and again, be very happy to answer questions and to help out where we can. And yes, thanks for having us.
Yeah, great. And for some of us that don't know, Bello is already part of us. Bello is already a member of NIPCA. Of course, Neji, for sure. The director of membership is going to be sending the form to you anytime soon. Obviously, Neji, we want to have you in our community for sure. So as you can see, we have so many people that are aspiring, possibly just to have 1/10 of what you know right now, just 1/10. Not 100%, but just 1/10. So we we are really aspiring, So again, and one thing that delights us so much is the way you guys have kind of had this conversation with us. It's like brothers, right? Speaking to ourselves, encouraging ourselves to say, hey, this was my story. Like Bello talking about being a call center agent. I couldn't believe that. Call center. But here he is today. So obviously these are inspiring stories really to help most of our members. There are a few of us right now that are job hunting, and some people have been out of job for a couple of months. And with COVID-19 again, that kind of made things worse for some people as well. So, when we hear stories like this, it kind of encourages and inspires us to believe that, yes, things are possible, right? It's just for us to believe, keep pushing, and eventually we'll certainly going to accomplish all our desired heart desires. So what I will say tonight is we really appreciate you guys. I will be coming back to you, Bello and Neji as well, for maybe more conversation after this, because already I can see great partnership that we can leverage on between NIPCA and you guys, especially maybe in terms of mentorship and in terms of other ways that you guys can probably give back to the community. We really appreciate you guys tonight. You guys are awesome. Can we give them, please, a round of applause, please? Let's give these two guys a round of applause, man. A round of applause. You can unmute yourself, man. If you think the session is so inspiring, please unmute yourself and give them a round of applause.
Mohammed, you guys are so awesome. Thank you.
It has been a very
Thank you, guys.
explosive one.
Yeah.
Very, very.
Yeah.
It resonates well.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Interestingly, we in NIPCA, this actually a community of Nigerian professionals in Canada. Right now, we are close to 800 members in the community. Growing and building strong. Our vision all about is what we're all about is about collaboration. Providing the right platform support. For members. People need jobs. Others are able to refer them to jobs. Some people need assistance in terms of strategy direction. What is the next thing to do? I'm a business analyst. I want to move into AWS and stuff like that. Someone else is already in that shoe, that have experienced that sometime in the past, and somebody will jump right in to help that person. So it's all about support, community support, collaboration, just to help ourselves. Just like, when you guys were making the comment as well, like I think that you made that comment. In some of the meetings you attend, you see only probably yourself, only the black person, right? Every other person is white and the brown guys. So we are Nigerians. We are Nigerians. So so I believe that we can really begin to find ways to really take our seat at the table, right? And that is what this community is all about. We started weekly learning sessions January this year, every Thursday of the week. Consistently, we've been delivering sessions. And in fact, this is the first session that we're going to deliver that we had to give the speakers a round of applause. That is to show you guys how special this session was. It's very impactful from the feedback we are seeing right now. And obviously, we are seeing a great areas of collaboration that we can leverage on in the nearest future. Thank you, guys. Quite appreciate you.
All right. Thank you, Osita. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. All right. Have a good night, Bello and Neji.